You're listening to Pro Booth Talk, education and insights for photo booth company owners.
Welcome back to Pro Booth Talk. Lap, what's going on over there? Where are you at?
I am at the celebrations venue in Newport Beach today. There's a networking event tonight, so I figure I just get a head start. It's not till 6, but I'm here because I figure I didn't want to be recording while
So you're
they're.
actually
get there early.
Yeah, it's a Valentine's themed networking event tonight, like from 6 to 9 out here.
I'm
It's a
glad to
photo
see
booth
you out there
owner.
doing a network event. It's
Yeah,
a change for you.
Yeah, we've been doing these podcast episodes about networking, and I'm putting foot in front of the other and getting myself out there.
Put it into practice.
Yeah.
Well, we have got not one but two guest hosts today. I want to welcome Dave and Art from Photo Booth Magazine.
Hi, guys.
They're pointing in different directions, but I don't think our screens are aligned correctly because sometimes they point at nothing and sometimes they point at one of us.
like the Brady Bunch, everyone gets a different square.
Cool. Well,
I'm not very good at that, but welcome, guys.
Hey,
Welcome.
thanks for having us.
Thanks for joining us, you guys.
Absolutely.
So occasionally we like to have one of these episodes to introduce or expand the introduction, I guess, to other people who are freely providing useful information to the photo booth community. And that's what brings you guys here today. So for anyone that is not already participating with Photo Booth Magazine, please tell us more about what it is and what you're doing.
Dave, what are we doing?
Well, listen, it's just two guys that talk about things that we see in the industry, conversations with different vendors, people in the industry, just like what you guys are doing.
Yeah. It's like fireside chat. Yeah.
Trying to spread some knowledge and share some info out there, kind of keep the misnomers down and help people build their business.
Yeah. And just have fun, really. It's like sometimes it's just therapy. We just get on there and talk. And we joke and we have fun. And that's the whole point, It's just you'll hear in the episodes a lot. Like for me, it's like a personal masterclass every week. I get to pick somebody's brain and learn something. And maybe I'm bringing something to the table. Maybe Dave's bringing something to the table. It's just fun, and it's very relaxed. It's a fireside chat format.
Yeah.
I love the fireside chat, and Lap has been on me to bring that to Pro Booth Talk, and that's a segment we are working on right now to figure out how to best implement that and how often. Either it's going to be like twice a year, maybe quarterly, I'm not sure, but we're trying to decide who exactly we're going to rope into participating, or maybe we'll switch it out every time. I don't know, but I think right now we're kind of aiming at having like a core 3 or 4 people that do it every quarter, or 5 people. I don't know. We'll see how it
I will say
out.
We've got some amazing people in our industry that you've had on quite a few, and we've had some on too, and it's just great that there's people out there that are willing to help the community, because
yes,
we're all in this together. We're all, yes, we compete, but we're all in here to ultimately help share a little bit. We were all at that place in one point in time in our industry, or in our business.
Absolutely.
And I've always promoted giving it back to the community and giving back to others, because a lot of what I've accomplished in the industry wouldn't have been capable, wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have had help from people ahead of me in the industry.
Yeah.
sure.
Absolutely.
I always believe in a pay it forward type situation.
So on that note, Dave, so Art has been on before speaking about Google AdWords, and it was a very well received episode. If you haven't listened to it, definitely go back and check that out. And Art has an intro in there about what he does, but I mean, it's foolish to think that anyone in the photo booth industry doesn't know who you are, Dave, but in case there is someone out there listening that doesn't know Dave Stevenson, please let us know who you are outside of Photo Booth Magazine.
There's lots of people. I meet people all the time. They're like, "Oh yeah, I've never heard of you." And I'm like,
What?
That's great. Let me introduce
It's
myself.
sarcasm.
My name is Dave. I run this little group called the Photo Booth Network.
This little group.
Little group. Just a few people that drop in.
12,000, 13,000 members now.
Maybe
Really
closer to
impressive over the years.
18,000, but
Wow.
who's counting?
Who's counting?
It's
And you photo booth as well. You're not just moderating a group, but
no,
these are things that you
I
practice.
live, breathe, and everything. Photo booths every day. Wash, rinse, repeat.
Yes.
It's something I love.
That's debatable.
Where else
Conditioning, I don't know.
can you go to a party, get paid for it, and watch people have a great time, and sometimes make complete fools out of themselves, and smile while they're doing it. So
This group you existed before I even knew there was a whole industry. I remember when I first started just as a hobbyist, someone had told me about a Facebook group, and I had no idea there was a whole group dedicated to doing what we call now photo booths. I don't know if that was even a big thing back in the day, right? When did you establish
Yeah,
I
good
think
question.
I started the group back in 2011.
Are you sure?
Yep.
I'm pretty
Yeah, that's
sure.
I think it was 2011.
Because I feel like when I started, I was going to both Cherie's group and Mike Bender's group. They both had for the young people, there used to be these things called I can't remember what they're called now, but they were essentially like Facebook groups, not on Facebook. They're just forums. That's what the word I'm looking for.
Right.
You used to have these different websites that hosted forums, and you just had to find a website that had a forum and hope there's a group of people in there that were the same as you. And it is kind of crazy because you didn't know who anybody was. It was just names, kind of like, I guess, chatting with people on Reddit or something. But then when I discovered the Photo Booth Network on Facebook after a year or year and a half in, a lot of the same people were moving over at the same time. So I was seeing a lot of the people I'd been talking to for the first time in that network. So it was like meeting them all over again for the first time.
Well, I used to go into other groups and say, hey, self-promotion for the group, come on over. I've got this little group here, because I can honestly say that the Photo Booth Network was the original photo booth group that was dedicated to the industry. There's many that have come and gone over the years, and there's,
Right.
Photo Booth Community is another great one that was an offshoot of the Photo Booth Network. And it's...
Which Photo Booth Community?
Yeah, you know
There's
that
apparently
one.
two with the exact same name now.
Yeah, well, one I think
I
is
don't know how they
controlled
did that,
by someone in another country, and they're definitely not the same. That's for sure.
Yeah, you could definitely tell the difference between the two.
Yeah. So, and it was
Art
just
laughing.
It's just
Is that a laugh? It was more of a snicker.
Yeah.
No, it's just she caught me off guard. The dry sense of humor right in my brain. It's like same wavelength. They look nothing like each other, and it's funny how groups they kind of. Dave had one, somebody tried to make another photo booth network, and then there's the photo booth network showcase or whatever it is. It's the capitalization of Facebook groups. It's crazy.
It is crazy, and it's one of the only reasons that I'm on Facebook at all anymore is the groups. I think I would keep an account just so I could check in on family every now and again. But the only reason I'm ever going onto Facebook is to check in on the Facebook or the photo booth groups and the other groups that I'm in.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's like I was actually thinking about that today, walking up the stairs. I'm like, Facebook, yeah. If it wasn't so tied closely to my business, I probably wouldn't use it.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
Not just photo boothing, but networking as well. I use Facebook for a lot of networking besides photo booth.
There's a lot of networking available on Facebook. I haven't seen something outside of in-person networking groups, local to, different areas around the country.
Yeah.
That Facebook has been able to accomplish, connecting so many people in so many different industries and paths out there.
So
even though
we've heard all about the creation of the Photo Booth Network, back to Photo Booth Magazine. How did that materialize?
Oh, okay. Here's the story. So I, being the internet person, I go back all the way to when it first started. I was just infatuated with it. And one of the things early on was buying domain names, and so every once in a while, I still had just going out and buying a domain name. And so it was in April of the year we started. We think it was 3 years now, right? And so I was like, Photo Booth Magazine, that sounds like a cool name. Let me see if that's available. And it was available, so I bought it. I bought the domain. And I just forgot about it. Months go by. Suddenly we're in July, and I get an email. And the email says someone would like to buy photoboothmagazine.com. You take $100 for us. So I'm like, no, this is not for sale. And I left it at that. And then I get another email. Well, how much would you want for it? And I just said it's not for sale. But knowing, and I have a bunch of other domain names that people have approached me on in the past, but I just kind of like to hoard them. Maybe thinking someday I'll just start another business and it'll be valuable for me to utilize. But that right after that happened, I was like, maybe we should start something. Maybe I will make a website and do something with it. And then I was at the DJ Expo in Atlantic City, and I saw Dave sitting there on that couch out in the lobby before the floor opened, and light bulb went off in my head. Ding! I'm like, well, let's do a podcast type of thing. Hey, Dave, what are you doing right now? Nothing. Come over and sit down. So we sat there, and I said, hey, Dave, what if we started a podcast or like a YouTube thing or just something? And I've got this domain name. We'll make a website, invite people on, and just chat and teach people stuff, learn some stuff, and that's how it happened. Just kind of in the span of the accidental, honestly, how it kind of came together.
So you've been running for about 3 years?
Almost 3 years now, yeah. And it's hard because at first we were really, really regimented about it. We were doing it every week. I mean, I think we're up to like 60 episodes now. Right? But most of those were like the first year and a half. But I'm sure, Jason, as you know, it's tough, right? To keep pumping out content.
We're doing those weekly, and it is tough. Content as well as just Lap and I both have very busy schedules, so it's
yeah. We got work,
It's hard.
I've got a couple kids. I've got a full-time job. Running a photo booth and a DJ company. Doing consulting, internet stuff on the side. It's hard. And Dave, you're in IT, and IT doesn't sleep either, right? So it's tough on you.
Well, I have that illustrious porn career too.
How's that going?
I'm taking a break for a while. Taking a break.
OnlyFans had to shut down the other day because so much traffic when Dave came.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up how many episodes we've hit.
You've got a lot.
You guys do them a little bit differently. You record bunches at a time, which is very efficient and smart. We're not that smart, Jason.
That's the only way we would be able to do it.
Yeah, we just go, hey, can we do it this week? Yeah, sure. Who are we going to throw in? I'll make some calls. We'll see who's available. And we're not as organized as you, man. But it's fun. It's just fun.
I kind of reset the counter once Lap joined me and we started back up again. But this episode will be 2060. So you're officially episode number 60.
Nice.
Very cool.
Churning them out, man. And you too.
Yes.
Both of you cranking them out. It's dedication. Yeah. And I think, one of the things is in the very beginning, we got to get subscribers. Now, I don't really care. I don't care about how many subscribers we get. If somebody watches it, great. I'm glad they watch it. It's about the quality of people getting on there in terms of, are we just helping somebody? If I can help one person, that's awesome. I don't need to help thousands and millions. And it's just something I don't really care about anymore, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and like Dave had mentioned earlier, he had said that you guys have already spoken to so many great people, and we have as well, and there's just so many people in the industry. What's really amazing about that is that's true, but we haven't even scratched the surface. There's just so many more people on my list, so many people that are reaching out to me all the time asking when we could get them scheduled, and it's so great. At the same time, you want to get everybody in right away, but it's really nice to say, well, we're scheduled out through July right now, but let me see where I could get you.
Well, that's another thing that I think both of us do, like all three, four of us. It's not just industry people. We're trying to bring in people who are outside the industry as well. Like you've had the virtual assistant episode, you had an SEO person on, and countless other guests that are necessarily photo booth centric. And so, but you still try to tie it in some way, right? It's like, yes, you do this, but how can that transcend into the photo booth industry? And I think that's really important to look outside of just our circle. And we're both kind of doing that as best as we can. I had a Google Business Profile, and Dave and I had him on, this Google Business Profile expert. and that was a great episode. He doesn't normally deal with the photo booth industry, and it wasn't until I reached out to him that he came on. I think it was a good episode. Really helped photo boothers out with their Google business profiles, because at the time Google was going through some changes. So it was a perfect way to bring somebody who's not in the industry.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I do that, and we actually have an episode kind of being fleshed out about that exact topic, is you'll see that kind of thing in the photo booth network all the time. People saying, what's the best way to advertise this, or what do you guys think about sales funnels? But you're asking a bunch of photo booth people, like, expand. There's more than photo booth groups. If you want to know about Google AdWords, fortunately, we've got someone in our industry that is also in that industry. But in general, the photo booth network is not the place to go ask that question. Go join a Google AdWords group and ask the people that are actively working on that every day. Or, if you have a legal question, obviously don't ask the people in the Facebook group. Like, go ask an attorney, or go to a legal group where people are discussing those legal things.
Yeah,
ask there where the professionals are at.
When people are asking about insurance for your business, or they're asking about, should I be paying taxes on my photo booth? And you're asking people from all over the world and every state, and the rules are different from state to state. It's not like there's a universal, oh, hey, every across the country you need to pay sales tax. Some states you do, some states you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even more, like, if you say, I am in Nevada, even specifically Clark County in Las Vegas, do I need to pay sales tax, or do I need to pay my employees W-2, or can they be independent contractors? Because nobody knows. You have 10 people saying, this is how I do it, this is how and they always appeal to authority. This is how my attorney told me I need to do it. This is how my tax account, but it's all contradicting. So, you can't rely on it. And fortunately and unfortunately, I went through an audit a couple of years ago, so I got firsthand experience with the IRS telling me exactly, who needs to be an employee and who doesn't, and what taxes I need to be collecting. So I certainly accepted their explanation more than
the ultimate source
tax accountant or anybody else that I've got. So that's how I'm running my business, how they told me to. And, I certainly won't give that advice to anybody, because, they may have different results.
The good thing, though, is it's healthy that at least they're asking, and they're not just like, yeah, I don't need to worry about that. But you're right. They need to go to an expert, or someone who specializes in that specific industry, whatever, or expertise, right? But at least they're asking. And hopefully they weed through all the comments, the jokester comments out there, and the repetitive, why don't you just Google it? It's nice to see somebody actually point somebody in the right direction with some thought. Because I'm sure that these people have Googled these things before, for the most part, and we do know some people don't do that, but at least they're asking.
You can tell the people that are putting in the effort, that are trying to, not be spoon-fed all the information. And those are the people that I'll go out of my way, and I'll direct contact them and say, hey, try this or try that.
Yeah.
And so I don't mind helping those people. Over the years, I've kind of grown a thicker skin when it comes to, I was always in the belief, well, everybody comes from different areas, let's just help everybody. And then I found out that, spoon feeding some people just creates a line of people that don't want to put the effort in. And I felt like I was doing a lot of the effort, and there was a time where I was ready to just shut down the photo booth network and walk away from it. So, because they
won't let you do that. Not allowed anymore.
But after so many people, but it does. I mean, you do a lot, and a lot of that, I was spending hours and hours on Facebook helping people, and people still today. I still post my email address and my phone number that people can call me for advice or whatever. And there's companies now that do the consulting and things like that, and they're charging hundreds of dollars. And here I was doing it for free, and still do for the most part for years and years.
Well, you're just a good guy, Dave. Just a good guy.
I think that's when I started seeing the need for education. Like, when I started seeing a lot of that, like a lot of people just wanting to be spoon fed, a lot of like basic core concepts of like how to build a booth, how to start it, how to run it. So I feel like in the last decade, our industry has moved a lot towards pushing for education versus pushing just for equipment. Like I think I saw heavy emphasis on like just investing in equipment, and now you're seeing more in our industry where people are talking about, you know, education for the business side, for the sales side, for the marketing side, which is really great. I mean, like even core concepts like basic photography, which, you know, a lot of people do get upset at me for always referencing. But I mean, I learned photography early on and it made my career so much easier, you know, beyond just all the other tech issues that come up when you run a photo booth.
Well,
yeah, and it's the easiest time right now ever with things like ChatGPT, because you could ask very specific questions that are technical, like about photography, and have a very easy, digestible explanation of what you're trying to achieve. So you don't even need to worry about the networks and worry about people yelling at you to go take a course and whatnot. You could even like upload a photo, your test photo, and say, you know, analyze this and tell me how I can improve it.
Oh,
And
wow.
it'll really lay it out for you. So there is some good things about chat. Yeah, I purposely didn't bring it up during discussions about attorneys. I don't want people out there writing their contracts with chat, because if you get to using chat enough, you'll learn very quickly that it will just make things up if it doesn't know the answer. And you could even ask, like, is this legal in the state of Nevada? And it'll even cite, like, yeah, according to this court ruling, this contract should be legal. And you look up that court ruling and it doesn't exist at all. It will just completely make things up. So
That's great.
be careful. Don't just use it as an aid.
there are people that live and
assistant.
die
Don't
by
rely
Chat
on the
GPT,
information.
and you're right. They sometimes
It's good, man. Even like it's not even Chat GPT. Google's got Gemini. Even that's pretty good. Like
I haven't used that, but
I just go to it and it's very similar. Like I've tested Gemini and Chat GPT, and they're just like neck and neck. Now, what I haven't tried is DeepSeek yet. Well, actually, I have, but I haven't had any time to really take a deep dive into DeepSeek.
So I'm pretty invested in chat, but I would really like to check out Gemini, because I hear it works pretty well because it's in the Google ecosystem. That it'll work really well with like Sheets and Google Docs and Google Drive and things like that, which I rely very heavily on. So I feel like I should be over there, but I'm not. I did have a chat experience today that I'll share because it was awesome. So I don't know if anyone here is using WordPress. You go to your website and you just have a white screen. It's awful to see. It's really hard to troubleshoot because you can't log into the backside. You have to go to your cPanel. And essentially that, more often than not, it's a theme or a plugin. And if you've got like 50 plugins, you've got to go through one at a time and just disable it, refresh, go to another one, disable it, refresh. And God forbid, you know, there's a WordPress update and 2 or 3 plugins don't work, because you're never going to find that miracle combination. So I jumped over to chat and said, hey, I've got a white screen. What do I do? And it told me where to go, which I was familiar with where to go to disable plugins, but then it told me to run a debug and to load the debug transcript into the chat, which I did. And it immediately told me which plugin I needed to disable. So the whole process took me like 8 minutes to fix my website. It's really incredible.
That's great. I'm going to use that. Although I don't use WordPress. I don't. But somebody I know that comes along and needs some debugging, I'm going to try that.
Yeah, I've always liked you a lot, and I knew there was something about you that was a little off, but so I'm glad we got to the root of that. I'm glad we found out where. So tell me, are you like a hardcore? Are you like coding, or are you like a Wix guy? Please don't tell me you're a Wix guy.
So I've been doing it for like just website stuff for a long time, ever since like Dreamweaver. Well, actually, let's go back even further. Angel Fire, something that Yahoo played years and years
Angel
ago.
Fire.
Yeah, so I mean, as soon as I was just infatuated with this, so I've done Dreamweaver, Angel Fire, WordPress.
Microsoft had a really good one for a while. I can't remember what it's called, but I really like their
Was it PageMaker?
I think that's what it was.
Yeah,
it was like the first WYSIWYG that I put into use, and it was really, really, really good back in the day. That was like mid 2000s, and unfortunately they discontinued it at one point. But
yeah, but
really like
WordPress is great, you know. But you just kind of illustrated a point that it's not for everybody, because there's a lot of things that can go wrong with plugins, and you know, one breaks, then the next one breaks, and it's like a domino effect. And you do need to know some coding in order to really make it work to its full potential. These online builders, though, that are out there, they're phenomenal. And in all honesty, Google doesn't look at any of these platforms and say, I'm going to rank you because you're built on WordPress, or I'm going to rank you because you're built on Wix, or I'm not going to rank you because you're built on a platform, a certain one.
I thought it did though at one point in
Nope.
time. No.
No.
I thought Wix was eliminated when I remember joining the groups. I remember everybody saying that Wix doesn't get picked up
So
by Google.
It
Has
does.
that
it wasn't
changed?
so much
No.
that Google was like blacklisting it or anything. It was more of the way that Wix was structured. It wasn't good for the web crawlers to go over it. So it
Yep.
wasn't, they weren't ranking as high. One of the biggest issues with Wix, unless they've changed their system, is you don't actually own it anything. Like they own your entire website and system and whatnot.
Right.
You just kind of are leasing a space there.
Whole like all of them, Squarespace, Wix. I mean, you have to pay them a monthly basis for those files to stay live, and they technically do own them. But all the platforms are pretty close. Now, Wix is, in my opinion, and I'm in a lot of different platforms. Like I'm in Wix, I'm in Brand.io, I'm in Squarespace, I'm in Duda, I'm in WordPress, and a couple others I can't even remember, like once or twice. And I'll tell you, Wix is probably my least favorite one, just because of the functionality in it. And I'm getting down this technical stuff that's probably not for this podcast here. But if I had to rank them, it would be WordPress is definitely on the top in terms of just everything that you could possibly do for SEO and for functionality. Next one is Duda, right? There's also Webflow, right? So Webflow and Duda are like the ones right under there. And Duda was actually endorsed by Google at one point. Then you go Squarespace, and then in the bottom is Wix, in my opinion. And I'm in all these platforms on a daily basis.
Yeah, one of the things that I liked most about WordPress, and I guess it's not as relevant now with chat, but there was just literally like millions and millions of people using WordPress. So any issue that I had, I could Google it with the word solved behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And hundreds of people had already had that problem. I could find a solution very quickly for it. Just the massive amount of troubleshooting that existed online was why I went that direction. But
yeah, no, but you're also very tech savvy, and you know how to like troubleshoot, even using ChatGPT, and that's something you need to have in order to really be able to handle WordPress. So those kind of skills.
Yeah.
But ChatGPT is wonderful, and so is Gemini. So use them. I'm using ChatGPT and Gemini both for blogging, right? So very, very powerful for blogging. And Photo Booth Magazine, Photo Booth Marketing, just had an episode or a training on that, which if anybody hasn't joined Photo Booth Marketing, you should, because it's a treasure trove of information. But one of the recordings was about how to utilize ChatGPT as part of your blogging process to run for SEO.
I think that was pretty recent also.
Yeah,
I think
just a few weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how the technology has really, and even using AI in our photo booths now, taking people's faces and making you a pirate or all these different things now. It's really something that I never thought of.
Moving fast too from the day that when it first came to market.
Yeah, it's
Really
really
fast.
and
hard to keep up with.
Some of the things that are coming up for PBX that I know some people are going to be releasing are just a whole new level.
The inside scoop on some of the AI.
I don't know anything that's going on that anybody might be releasing.
You sound like
here's the good news, Dave. This episode is being released months after PBX, so it's old news now.
So PBX was yesterday.
And anybody who by the time you're watching this, you'll already know. So it's still good. But
you got me wondering now.
Yeah.
There are people that are working really hard, and that's what is so nice to see is the developers are still creating new content to elevate the industry and elevate their products. It's not like it's getting stale and you're just seeing the same things. You're seeing more and more
forward motion with technology and advances. Yeah.
The technology is really playing a part in our industry. It's not just a camera, it's not just an iPad or a PC or a laptop or whatever, or Surface Pro. I mean, the technology is you're able to do things now where you could only do it on this platform or that platform, and now you're being able to do it, sometimes even without the internet being connected. So
yeah, there's a couple that I'm looking forward to that I've heard some whispers about that I would like to implement because they're in the systems that I'm already using. I'd really like to take advantage of that, but we'll wait and see. Test it at PBX. It's interesting because Lap's right. It's moving so quick. Like sometimes someone will ask, can anyone do this with AI? And someone will answer, no, we can't do that yet. And I really want to reply with like, check back in an hour because like, who knows, but interestingly, I think we're going to see a lot of the same AI at PBX this year as we did last year. So a full year. And I think more people are going to be joining the game, and we're going to probably see some things like group AI and stuff like that. But for the most part, I think it's largely going to be the same as far as PBX, just different AI models at every single booth.
And that's kind of how it's been over the years too. But once that technology starts to develop and, the main players of the software development get a hold of it, and, they come up with some amazing stuff, and the group AI, I think, is going to be a big thing this year.
Yeah, I've been seeing some people, some early adopters, and some of their results, and they look really good.
Yeah, I've seen some beta test results on different softwares, with the AI and some features that are coming out. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. I mean, there's still occasionally an extra finger here or there, or something like that, or an extra
arm.
Listen, I'm just thinking that
extra
maybe,
torso.
I'm thinking maybe that there's just an evolutionary thing that AI is catching on, that eventually, we'll all have an extra finger.
It's the precursor. It's trying to warn us.
Yeah, it's trying to warn us.
I've seen some pretty cool things that people have done with AI. I don't know if it's within our industry, but I know it's like with photos. I'm just curious if that's going to move more into our industry, like just more like practical things. Cause I know like turning someone into a pirate, there's booters that like that, but like I've been wanting to just to see like, like a better version of me, like a
Yes.
like a headshot version of me. Like
there is no better version of you than you.
Well, you know what I mean? Like for like my own personal clients, like they would be sold on the idea of like you go in, you take a headshot, and it just photo retouches you and creates this amazing version of you, but it's still you. Like that's what I would love to see with AI. I think turning
I
people
totally
into
agree.
I think turning people into characters is pretty cool, but I mean that's very like case specific for, clients. Like I've seen one really well done one last year or 2 years ago with like someone who was turning people into cooks, and that was the branding, but I don't really have those kind of clients, like the kind of clients that I have would prefer like polished headshots. And I would love polished headshots, and I don't have to slap so much makeup
and
on.
there is
Not
AI
even a
stuff.
headshot. If leave the theme stuff behind, because like you said, it's very niche. So if you're a manufacturer or a software developer making themed AI like a sports car driver or whatever, only so many events can support those. But if you do AI enhancements, it doesn't even need to be headshots. Just
It's like a
make
better
this the
version
best
of
photo ever, like
yeah.
perfect lighting, perfect white balance. Then every single event could use that.
Yeah, I
So
would love.
that is where the software developers could really sell their AI,
Yeah,
because everyone could use it on every event.
This is like
yeah.
something that somebody should approach like Wegovy with. It's like, we're going to have the Wegovy booth. You're going to take a picture, and it's going to tell you exactly what you're going to look like after like 4 or 5 months of getting the shot.
There you go.
Boom.
Like the
The
skinnier
skinny
version of
booth.
you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like me if I lost like 20 pounds. Oh my gosh. I
Wegovy or
motivate you.
Ozempic.
Pretty
That's
sure there's
funny.
booters trying to work on those type of
Oh
AI
yeah.
experiences right now. I'm just wondering if it's possible right now or if it's something that we could see in the future.
Well, I have.
Yeah,
I
it's
have seen
unfortunate
it.
because I feel like even though it's more practical and will ultimately could be used in more events, I think there's not as much like excitement behind it. So the drive is to do the groups and the fun things and refine those, because that's what people are sharing online and getting excited about. But I think practically, I think they would be much more successful selling AI enhancement.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the group shot's a huge thing because it's like no
Yeah.
matter what experience I do, it could be glam, it could be Etsy. It could be just right. It's everybody wants to be in groups. Like very
Mhm.
rarely do I get someone who wants to be by themselves or just with one person. Unless it's a couple. But everybody else is like, come on in. Let's get 15 more people in here. It's like, so
That's when
I
those
could,
five. That's when those 5 foot wide backdrops come in handy because there's
yeah,
no space for a group.
oh, they don't even care. They're just like, it could be a blank wall. They just want to get in the picture. But yeah, AI with multiple people. I mean, that's like, I think that's like one of the deficiencies that I've seen that we haven't been able to do. Like I've done it with Curator, I've done it with Snappic. And it's great with one person, but so many people come up, they're like, can we do it with 2 people or 3 people? I'm like, no, just one person for now.
Yeah.
And it's just the look of disappointment.
Yeah, I haven't put it into practice, but Matthew shares his results, and I don't know how easy they are to achieve. I know
His
there's
are
like a whole
custom
system
built.
behind it.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
custom writes all of his AI. So
Yes, but he's doing really good group stuff.
yeah.
Shar's
Really
doing a
good.
pretty good job with group stuff. Yeah, I've seen Fred Carver pump out some really, really cool multiple person stuff.
Sharing software. They're a photo booth software now.
Something. I mean, he's constantly posting it in the Photo Booth Network. His multiple
Yeah, that
person
sounds
AI
familiar.
shots. Yeah. And he's going to be
I
inducted into
never.
the Hall of Fame. By the time people hear this, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fred.
congratulations,
Fred. Congratulations.
Someone else, too, on this podcast is going to be in the Hall of Fame by the time people hear this, Mr. Jason Whaley.
Well, Lap already is.
Jason.
You're sideways, Lap, so I'm above your head.
Oh, I'm sideways.
It's okay. Post production.
Congratulations, Jason.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So well earned. Definitely should have been in there.
And since we're talking about awards, I did also just win 2 awards locally, which was so I won Best Photo Booth Company in Las Vegas, which I had a feeling that I would win just because, I mean, I'm
No
the best photo booth
competition.
company in Las
Yeah,
Vegas.
dude.
But, no, we've got some really great
We
companies
got
here.
some amazing company. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're different.
But then also I was nominated for Entertainer of the Year non-music, and I just
Really?
I didn't pay any attention to that because
That's cool.
clearly that's miscategorized.
Stop
So I was
saying that.
literally
Listen,
on my
I've
phone
hung out with you
when they're
outside.
Stop
when they're
saying
calling
that.
it off,
entertaining.
Take the
and
win.
they
Take
call
the
my
win.
name, and I was like, shouldn't this go to like, I don't know, magician or
Stop. Take
so
the win, Jason. Take the win.
I did.
Yeah.
I went up, I accepted it. I'm very humble because it is a much broader category, obviously. It includes a lot
harder
more
to
people. So I was
compete. Absolutely.
certainly honored to win it. They did say my showcase event had a lot to do with it. The YLA or You Look Amazing that we hosted, where we created like 12 unique interactive things. So
It's fun.
just brought those 2 awards home last week as well.
Congratulations.
So
Very
thank
good.
you.
You're giving out awards at PBX. They're the buttons, right? So to me, I look at
Not
that
really
as
awards,
like
but yeah.
that's an award to me, man. That is an award. That's the
Jason, you're hard at work. I feel
Photo
bad. I'm
Booth
telling
Talk
everybody, like, get your submission in, and I'm like, Jason's gonna kill me
Dude is
as
a
we
bucket.
get closer
Yeah, it's
to the event.
funny that post that I did showing the basket was kind of supposed to be the thank goodness I'm finally done. And Lap was like, sorry, sharing the link. And I'm like, no, slow down. And they just started coming in again. So
I was going to do
I've
that too, but I
got
saw
another
the
hour or
bucket.
so of.
I saw the
That's-
bucket, and I was going to do the
that's
same
too
thing. I'm
late.
like, no,
It's
I'm not
too
going to do that
late.
to him.
You know,
It's okay.
you're gonna feel bad. Everybody's gonna have one. You're not gonna have one, and you're gonna remember this conversation where I told you just do it now.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
they came out great, Jason. They came out awesome.
They did.
Yeah,
I
like them
hope
too.
everybody
The
loves them.
The pictures that you posted, I'm like, wait, I know that person. I know that person. I know that person.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah. So I discovered like when I was doing it, I think we need to do like a trivia of like what's people's photo booth company's name, because I know all these people and I'm like pressing their buttons. I'm like, oh, that's their company, huh? Never knew. Another one.
Yeah.
That's what their company's. And I realized that there's like 10 people with like the exact same name.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if it's just
Same
different
photo
states,
booth
but like
names?
the exact. Yeah, there's a lot
Oh,
of the
wow.
same name
Mhm.
companies, and I'm like, well, this is gonna be awkward for people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when we're doing buttons, I was like, oh man, we have their names, we know their company name, and I wish we added cities because I think that would have helped a lot too. But maybe for another year we should do that, like add city location.
That kind of goes
Yeah.
to show you like how many photo booth businesses open up when you've got like so many that have like practically the same name. That's just this industry has just exploded.
Or just,
Yeah, but at the same time, a lot of people aren't very creative with the names.
I was
Like,
gonna
a
say
lot of
that
people
too.
are, but a lot of people like there's. Well, actually, I think I think if I name Dave's company here, what's your company again? Is that something?
Are we about to knock Dave's company?
What's the name of your company, Dave?
name?
Dave's Photo Booth and Fun Emporium. No, it's
No.
I
Is it really?
Smile Pod. I
Smile Pod. Okay.
Smile Pod.
So I thought it was lounge. So there's not as many anymore, but for a while there was a lot of lounges.
Yes.
A lot of Smile, a lot of Snap, a lot of shutters and logos. There's just a lot of I wish I had the basket of the buttons in here with me,
Smile
but
Lounge,
there's a lot of
Lisa Oler and Cherie Irwin, they had Smile Lounge when I first started, and I remember that was like who I like aspired. That's the company I aspired to be back 13 years ago, 12 years ago.
Yep.
7 years ago. Yeah.
I love Lisa and Cherie both. They are
and they were so ahead of their time. Do you guys remember they had the enclosure? I don't know if you followed any of their work, guys, but when I first came into this industry, I remember like Googling like enclosures for a photo booth, because at that time open concept photo booths were still, we were starting to move that direction. We still had like the enclosed stuff. And I remember looking for something modern and they kept popping up. I didn't know them at the time, but man, they had the enclosures, those huge round enclosures. I spent like 3 years trying to source it, could not find it for anything. So they were so ahead of their time. The folks that started
spiral. It was a spiral.
Yeah. Was that what it was called? Oh my gosh. I mean, now, we have vendors that provide them and they're easily accessible. But back then, I mean, that was so ahead of their time. I admire the fact that they like really, paved the path for us. I don't know how else to
they're
say
easily obtainable, but they're not easily constructible. Like, I'm impressed that they're putting them together for all their events back then, because
Cherie's like shorter than me, right?
Yeah, if someone asks about one, I'm like, that's gonna cost you, because I really don't want to pull that out.
Yeah, but I mean, wow, they were gorgeous. I remember them marketing it when I first came to market. I was just like, wow, this is like the company I aspire to be. So I spent many years like, with that in mind for my own branding when I was rebranding through the years.
Yeah. It's funny that like the evolution that we've seen. Like, we did have those people at the forefront of the industry doing really beautiful things, but at the same time, because like you said, the open style wasn't very popular yet, but so many people were using different versions of easy ups, and some definitely looked better than others. Like, we had some really, really poorly put together like easy ups and things like that. And and then we had the era where everyone was, not everyone, but
those still exist.
Many people were making like the box fan photo booths. I'm so glad that isn't popular anymore.
I remember those, and the IKEA medicine cabinet.
Oh my god.
I mean, like, you guys, honestly, we're lucky. We're lucky now, because back then there was manufactured booths were just not that. You couldn't easily just go to someone's website and order a photo booth, even if you wanted to. Like, most of us,
crazy expensive back then too.
Yeah, but most of us that started this industry many years ago, like, we really had no other option but to DIY, So we all had makeshift. Some of us, of course, built better booths than others. I burned my photos of the ones I really like stuff. But I mean, today, the folks entering the market today, you guys are so lucky, because I mean, backdrops being so clean. Back then, I mean, I remember like just having to order a gazillion different solutions, because all we had back then was those tripod legs and, like the wrinkly backdrops. And, you try your best to find something that's efficient, because there's no solutions on the market back then. And now, I mean, tons and tons of different vendors for backdrops, for photo booths, iPad booths, like so many resources available to us today that just was not available. Like what, like 10 years ago, guys, 8 years ago, 7 years ago?
I'm only 11 years, so it was even less than that. I mean, I'd say like 7 years ago, a lot of this wasn't available to us.
Yeah, like I remember having to figure out my own like wiring in my photo booth. Now you can go straight up, like order a photo booth, have it already pre-wired, pre-configured. All you have to do is, I don't want to say it like this, but all you really have to do is turn it on. I mean, compared to what we used to do, I mean, you still have to learn the photo booth, and you still have some work you have to put in. But compared to what we had to deal with back in the day, I mean, it's wild. It's wild how far our industry has gone. Not just talking about the AI stuff, but just your basic enclosure, just your basic photo booth lighting solutions is amazing. Software,
Yeah.
Well, when
Had
I
moved.
started, there was only 3 softwares out there for photo booth.
Breeze was one of the originals.
Breeze is what I had. It was Spark Booth, Breeze, and there was another one I can't think of.
So
What's that?
I
Bring your own.
started like right when Darkroom Booth started. So when I started, there's like the launch of Darkroom Booth at the same time. So I'm really glad that I did, because I was looking at Breeze and it seemed very complex. And when I was like, oh, let me see what this new software is that's hitting the market, it was much more user friendly, and I went that direction.
My first one was actually, believe it or not, an iPad 9 years ago. It was like, it was just,
Wow, iPad 9 years ago, huh?
Yeah, there was a company. There
That
was a
seems
it
really
was,
company.
early.
What
an
was it
app.
called?
I
They
don't remember. I
I
don't
got
remember.
grandfathered into that company's software, but I don't remember them either. There
Yeah,
was
it was,
there was two. There was two companies
there was two, and it was like, I just pieced together
before.
like an iPad
Yeah,
holder and like a newer light that screwed on top of the thing
they used to sell it as
and
a C stand with a ring light and then an iPad mount.
something. Yeah,
Hmm
and I
I had
don't
that
even know where
software
that stuff
too.
is. And that was like my
Yeah,
first experience with photo boothing. It was something I wanted to do at a bar one night because I was actually running a karaoke thing.
and it was
Like, oh, let me
perfect
just
for
try
stuff
this
like
out.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I had like the Canon selfie printer, right? So that's what we were printing on.
I can't
There
believe you
was,
were even able to get it to print back in the day. I didn't know iPad Boost
Yeah,
could
from an
print
iPad.
that early
That's
on.
crazy.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
it's like, what is it? The selfie printer is just like Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. I can't remember how it runs, but it's just like it's the iPad's compatible with the selfie Canon printers. So you didn't have to use Wi-Fi. It's just directly linked to it, I think. I can't remember.
Hmm.
But
Man,
yeah.
I should know this, but it's been so long. But you know what? With Facebook Memories, those videos that I used to take with those original iPad software, they pop up, and they are nothing like what we see today. I mean, the iPads have really improved since 10 years ago, and then the software too. Because back then, I remember being impressed with. I think they had like Boomerang on that software back in the day, and I see those videos on Facebook Memory every single year, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this was amazing back then, and now this looks terrible.
Yeah, when I
This
use
looks
it,
terrible today.
it didn't even have Boomerang. I mean, it's like it was just basically 3 pictures with a blank white strip. That was like the only thing I was able to print.
Man, I'm wondering which software, but I remember
I
that.
can't remember what it
Yeah.
was.
And then Snappic and Curator came to market like maybe 5 or 6 years in, 5 or 6 years
Yeah.
in, and
Hmm.
they there was a few other
It,
iPad software that I tried too, but
mhm.
those are the two that I feel like
That really
went
changed the
strong.
industry.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember
What
when
a
they launched like Boomerang, I remember having like a Boomerang photo booth that we marketed, and people were just went crazy over it. You know,
right.
this new technology of a Boomerang that now you just like turn it on or turn it off. Certainly wouldn't imagine charging more for it.
I feel like you should charge more for it. You still have to get the lighting down. I mean, you still have to get, like it still takes some time and effort to get a great boomerang. So I still charge
Sure, and
a little bit for it.
well, it depends. Like if you're talking about we've got people on a swing for an activation or jumping on a bed or something like that, that's you need that right lighting and stuff. But if you're just talking about like a wedding that's using iPad booth for whatever reason and you're switching between photo and boomerangs, I mean my lighting is going to be focused on the photo.
I'm going to step away for
The boom.
1 second. This is where we talked about earlier, daddy duties. I got to go tell my kid to get in the shower. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
How old is your kid?
He's 10, but he's,
28.
when mommy's not here, he kind of tries to get away with stuff.
Art is just fantastic. I really enjoy the time that him and I have put in to this.
Podcasting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
It's funny. You become like coworkers and friends. Like I feel like I know Jason a lot better now.
well, absolutely.
Certainly.
I knew Art because we're in the same area, and I knew him from passing and mutual friends and things like that. And then coming around and him saying, "Hey, you want to give us a shot?" I'm like, So I've always been keen on the education side because back in the day we had before. Well, it was right after PBX started. You were talking about Lappy. You were talking about education. I was part of the group that we did PB,
PVPI. Oh my gosh.
and we were like one of the first groups to
That
do
was
such
yeah.
education focused
Yeah.
training.
For anybody who doesn't know what PVPI was, it was like really, really early in our industry where a lot
I
of
might have
like,
kicked Lap out
no, I'm still here.
by coming back in.
Are you still there? I
Who
don't see
knows?
Art. I don't see Art.
I see
You guys see both of us?
I see everybody.
Oh, you do?
I see everybody. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So it should be good.
As long as you see everybody.
Well, maybe. Well, I don't want to have Lap go out and come back in because she had trouble getting in before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess we're gonna be wrapping
Let's
up
just
here
wing
pretty
it.
soon,
Let's
anyways.
wing
So
it.
yeah, you guys just pretend like you could hear each other.
But yeah,
I can hear
PvP.
you.
Yeah, I can
Or
hear you,
Dave.
Art. I can hear you. Yeah.
Right, Dave?
I was gonna say
Oh, okay. Good.
PVPI was like groundbreaking at that time because nobody
So-
focused on education.
Pro Booth Talk. What's in the horizon for Pro Booth Talk? We're going to find out at some point tonight because you know what? After this, we're going to go live on the Photo Booth magazine. I'm going to talk to you guys about that.
Yeah, and we're
Live.
actually releasing this quite a bit after that.
Yep.
So if you're listening to this now, go back because it's going to be in the archives. Hopefully, you already watched it.
In the time capsule.
Yes, I don't know how you guys date your stuff, but it'll be February 5th. And this one will be releasing on April 23rd. So,
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't know how you. Then that's a lot of work. So you guys put together like the show, but then you're doing like post-show edits and scheduling stuff out. That's power to you, man.
We don't
That's
do
just
any.
a lot of work.
We don't do
so
edits.
I keep the edits to a minimum. Like I do keep a pad of paper here and I'm writing some things down, like when people step away or if somebody says a software or something that I'm like, I don't know if that was like, sometimes someone will say something negative about a software and we're like,
Gotcha.
I don't know if we want to say that.
That doesn't happen often, you guys.
I don't know.
Or else someone will say that they worked with a certain company and we're like, well, we don't know if there is an NDA there or something. So we don't know if they're allowed to say they worked with that company. So we'll edit that out. But I try not to do any edits. So it is very, very soft edit, only when I have to. But
Yeah.
we do schedule out quite a bit. Like I've pulling up my sheet here. Like I have got things scheduled. We're not recorded yet. Typically we have like about 10 episodes recorded ahead of time, but because we just went through our busy season, we're
Yeah,
like,
October,
Dude, like
November,
us.
December.
we're really hurting right now. We're like,
we went
I
dark
think we
for
have
months.
one in the can right now,
We went dark
but
for
I've
months.
got shows scheduled out through July right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think the last episode, Dave, we did was like before Thanksgiving or something like that.
Yeah, because
That's what happens.
you and I mean,
Yeah, we were September, and then we just pounded through like 4 in the last couple days. But we need to get back up to 10 before we had a busy
And
season.
it's a grueling recording schedule because
well, and you guys, do a couple episodes. We do one a week live, so
Yeah.
there are no edits or deletes or things like that. We take it as it goes, and
Yeah. Yeah,
there's
you can always
times
tell
where-
which ones if you go to YouTube, you can see which ones we record together because we're wearing the same clothes. It's not like we do wardrobe changes or anything.
I wondered about that because, and I forgot that you post these out later. Should I change my shirt in between their episode and our episode? I'm
that's
like,
that's too much work. That's too much work.
That's funny.
oh man. So I guess is Lab still here or is she?
Yeah, she's still
Yeah,
here.
Yeah,
I'm
Lab's still here.
Okay.
Yep.
She could hear you. You just can't hear her for some reason.
Weird. Yeah, because I just see
Yeah.
Dave and you, and that's
Yeah,
it.
so anyone that's listening, Art's not a jerk. He's not like talking over Lap because he's a jerk. He just doesn't know when she's talking.
I'm just gonna stay quiet.
I was thinking the same thing.
That's
We'll
crazy.
let David, Jason.
No.
No, I'm
Listen,
not.
this is
After-
a group effort here.
After we talked about not editing out, I'm not editing any of this out now.
That just makes this even better, when people are listening to it, they're really like, so this is really what it's like? This is what happens on...
Yeah,
Sometimes
they're
it's
gonna be like,
technical.
unsubscribe.
Oh,
Sometimes-
subscribe all you want. Double unsubscribe.
But
You're
I
not
want to
coming
go back
back.
to you,
Kick him out.
Dave. I want to go back to you talking about PVPI because I feel like that was like that laid the groundwork for like a lot of the future for us. Like I feel like after PBI happened, there was such great feedback from that.
There was.
Yeah, I mean, like I can say without a doubt, it helped build my career. Like I had such a foundation, and I only attended one. There was two.
There were two.
There was two.
There were two.
Yeah.
Our first one was in New Orleans.
I missed that one.
And
I
then
heard everybody had a great time too.
we didn't want that week to end. We really didn't. I mean, it was such an amazing time and such an amazing group of people that attended from all over the world. I mean, we had
Yeah.
people that flew in from Europe and everywhere, and
And for anybody who doesn't know what it was a group of industry leaders at that time, people who were like making strides in our industry. They came up with a like educational 2-3 day educational
yep,
conference.
like a 3 or 4 day conference.
Yeah, and they limited to like a very small number of people, and the people that attended, I mean, all the ones that I've kept in contact with, they have grown tremendously from that conference. I mean, it was 2 years in the making, and it was amazing. And I feel like it really helped shape the future of our industry, where we started focusing on education, because that was not a focus for many years,
Right.
many years. Yeah.
Well, and that was the focus of all of us. So putting that together was to bring the education together under one platform. And like how you guys interview different people from outside the industry, that's what we brought in. Is we brought in people, we brought in accountants, and we brought in wedding marketing, that type of thing. So you could talk about, or people that book for corporate events, so they can explain to you what they look for when they're booking a corporate event,
How to approach it.
how to approach it, what they look for,
Yeah, it's so valuable.
From an RFI.
It's one thing to ask another photo booth, they're like, what do you do to attract wedding planners? But it's a whole different thing to have the wedding planner there and say, what are you actually looking for?
Right.
And more
Right.
like, what deters you? What turns you off?
And it varies from area to area, but there are a lot of commonalities across the country as to, what different event planners, look for.
At least like the core concepts of it, like the
Right.
centralized themes of everything, of like how to approach everything. I feel like, yeah. I would love to see, I keep saying this every year, I would love to see PVPI brought back,
Or some form of it, yes.
something
Yeah.
close to it. I mean,
Yeah.
just so valuable. That education was just, I mean, phenomenal. And the people that put it together, I mean, so humble about the fact that they put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into putting these courses together. And these people are like us. They're boothers who have their own regular grind. They're running their own business as well, and they're doing this because they're trying to, they wanted to elevate our industry and grow it and have it move forward. I feel like now a lot of us that are having a voice and sharing like education, I feel like a lot of us are wanting the same. We want to see this industry progress. We don't want to see anybody like trapped in the mindset of like, that's all that my market can support. Because I know that was a big theme in our industry and on the groups for many, many years. And I feel like now, with education being out there a little bit more accessible, I feel like people are starting to realize that you don't have to be stuck in that narrative. You don't have to create that glass ceiling for yourself.
Well, and
Mhm.
I think now people are realizing that you can go to a convention that's not a photo booth convention and learn that it doesn't have to be about what you do. It can be about other industries. You just need to learn how to take those nuggets of how other people do things and adapt it to what you want to do and what you want to accomplish.
Right. So seeing outside of the box.
Outside the box, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately, a lot of people are want to stay inside their box because that's their comfort zone.
Yeah.
And they're happy with their 1 a week photo booth that they go out, it's at a venue that that they're linked up with or something like that.
Very cookie cutter.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
there's people that listen, if you want to do that, there is a place for you for that. But there
Mhm.
are a lot of other people that they want to think outside the box. They want to be creative. They want to be doing the corporate stuff, the large event things, where you have 10,000 people plus at an event. It's crazy.
I think there's also a lot of people like in between, because I was one of those people. So I was very comfortable with being like cookie cutter. I was comfortable with just working weddings. And like I always had this like whisper in the side of my head that was like, okay, I want to try something more creative, but then I'm scared to. I feel like a lot of people in our industry are kind of in that mid zone where they're just like, I want to try green screen. This is back when green screen was still, now it's probably AI. Like, I want to try AI or I want to try Mosaic, but I just don't know how to, like move forward with that or like even start with approaching that. And the great thing is there's so many resources like Catalina, Matthew, a lot of Rex. A lot of us have things
Pro Booth
out there
Talk,
that Pro Boot Talk, a lot of us,
Photo
Photo
Booth
Booth
Magazine.
Magazine, a lot of us have, like we're here to like encourage you, like don't be apprehensive, like take the baby steps. For me, the way I started, because anybody who follows my work, like I look like I do everything, and I probably do a lot. And it didn't
You do
start like that.
everything.
It started with me just learning one small step of one, like if I wanted to learn Mosaic, I just read a small segment of how to do a mosaic, and then you build on top of that. So a lot of boothers, you feel overwhelmed because you look at like how massive that project is, kind of like taking on Breeze. A lot of people are like apprehensive of like exploring Breeze. All you gotta do is just open it up and start with one. Set yourself with one goal. Like I want to figure out how to do photos, still photos. I want to figure out how to do strips, and then just build on top of that. And before you know it, you'll be able to offer more advanced things. That's how I grew my offerings. I didn't just snap my fingers and figure it out all overnight. Like you're gonna have the fear of like the learning curve. Just take baby steps. That would be my advice to anybody out there.
That's great advice.
Thanks.
And it's not really stalkerish if I'm on the East Coast following you on social media, right? And all the stuff that you do.
I have a lot of.
It wasn't until right now.
That's how we learn from each other. Follow other people in other areas. Learn
I'm
something
not
outside of your local ecosystem.
Well, yeah, well, I'm not gonna lie. Like when I was still new to the industry, that used to bother me because I used to be like, man, people are just spying on me. And now that I've been in the industry long enough, I understand. Like we all, even though we all are doing the same thing, we all have different markets, we have different clientele, and we even have different niches. So like, I don't, when people start following my work, I have a lot of boothers that do follow my work. I haven't been posting a lot, you guys, on my Instagram or anything, but
I've noticed.
I don't think anything of it. I feel like if I can inspire somebody, because many people inspired me through the years. Like there was some really creative photo boothers. I bring up Mira a lot. That inspired me to like push myself to do more than what I was doing. And if you guys check out my Instagram and you guys or Jason has a lot of really innovative stuff as well. I mean, like if we can encourage you to like try stuff out of the box, I mean, that would be amazing. That would be only a benefit to our entire industry. If things become more mainstream, in my mind, this is what I see. Like if things become more mainstream where people expect these type of amazing photo booth experiences, our industry is just going to grow. I mean, you guys all remember back in the day when people used to say, oh, photo booths are going to go out of style. It's just like a trendy wedding thing. And now, your corporate clients, they contact us and they're like, we have to have a photo booth for this. Like this is a marketing event. We have to have a photo booth so that we get this content out in social. So just the move of like how people see our photo booths has, it's progressed dramatically in 10 years.
Yeah, even having when Alan was on, maybe it wasn't when he was on, maybe it was last time I think it's just the last time I was on the phone with him actually. He was telling me that the wedding wire, because he was part of the Knot when photo booths came out, and they refused to make it a category because they thought it was going to be like chocolate fountains and stuff, like it was going to be a fad that
like
came and went
out of style. Yeah. And we've gone strong for 10, 12, 13 years, and like now it's part of the conversation where, we're one of the core vendors. Like, you need to have a DJ, you need to have a photo booth, you need to have a wedding cake, you have to have a photo booth. And on the marketing side, you have to have a photo booth to get that content out there because social media is so big. And that's probably in the last like 5 years, 7 years.
All very great content, Lap. I'm going to hopefully, well, I guess it's going to be backwards because people are going to hear the other one first, but we're going to continue this conversation somewhere else because we're going live in about 10 minutes. So we need to wrap this up on our side.
Okay, let's go
so
live.
We can get ready to go over to Photo Booth Magazine. Again, if you haven't listened to that or any other episode yet, go back over, check it out. It should have aired on February 5th. And subscribe to Photo Booth Magazine. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you so much for having us. I guess we'll talk to you in a little bit.
We're going to talk to you in the past. So this will be the future. We're going to bring you back to the past and talk to you.
Yeah, I'll talk to you in a few months ago.
Yeah. All right, guys.
To keep the conversation going, join our Facebook group, Pro Booth Talk Community. If you enjoyed this podcast, consider showing your support by subscribing, liking, reviewing, or sharing this topic with someone in the industry.